Disclaimer: crypto investments are highly speculative and involve significant risk of loss. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Always do your own research and invest wisely.
Hyperinflation is coming. Could this be EOS time to shine? Fast forward a few months after this year's first stimulus check has been disseminated into the American economy, and now we are beginning to see some significant effects that may be the first warning signs of things to come. In this video I intend on going over a recent article that I read called Bank of America Warns of Real Hyperinflation, and giving my opinion on why I believe that this could be a harbinger of things to come, and how the EOS mainnet blockchain is positioned to offer an alternative to this problem. Link will be below. Okay, now let's get started. To paraphrase, this article begins with, "It's no secret that Bank of America's chief investment officer has been warning that 2021, the year of the vaccine, would see real inflation, as opposed to financial, run amok sooner or later," and in his latest Flow show, he reiterates his two main points on how events will unfold in the coming months, namely, the velocity of people will rise and the velocity of money will also rise. In response to the first, Hardnet writes that since the key 2021 patterns would be vaccine virus and reopening lockout, human mobility will increase and macro data will increase, especially in Q2, when investors can anticipate US GDP of 10%, EPS of 20%, CPI of 3 to 4%, or an economy in full-fledged overheating mode. When you combine this with secular developments like bigger government, economic globalization, fiscal excess, currency debasement, and the war on inequality, it's no surprise that inflation break-evens and lead indexes are surging, and small US company price plans for the next 3 months are at their peak since November. Okay, now I'm sure it will come as no surprise to anyone that has been listening to my content for any length of time, that this is something that we, in the crypto world, have been expecting to go down sooner or later, as the US government has continued its never-ending bad monetary policy of quantitative easing. Since then its drunken spending has only increased, and now with its recent dubious innovation of helicopter money from the sky, also known as stimulus checks, there seems to be no end in sight, and the only question remaining to be asked is, how far is this government willing to go to supposedly stop the bleeding? How long will we continue to kick this can down the road, before we simply allow natural market forces to correct this problem for us, rather than the unlikely wise and sage financial oracles, who in my opinion, seem determined to run this ship aground? To paraphrase, the article continues with, stepping into the field of monetary policy, and especially its pace, Bank of America points out that the US has run a $3.5 trillion, 17% of GDP, budget deficit in the last 12 months, with $13.3 trillion of global central bank reserves injected, 15% GDP. Then, no longer afraid to step on anyone's toes, Hardnet admits that policy stimulus in 2020/21 continues to flow directly to Wall St, not Main St, inciting historic wealth inequality through asset bubbles, as in pretty much any one of the past 12 years, and to think of the mockery we were subjected to by random idiots back in 2009 and later years, when we predicted the Fed's actions would lead to precisely that. In either case, Bank of America predicts that in 2021, the increasing velocity of humans, vaccine virus, would lead to an increase in the velocity of currency, with inflation mutating from Wall Street to Main Street, causing the nihilistic bubble to burst. And here's the twist, Bank of America sees post-World War I Germany, whose armistice was signed in November 1918, as the most epic, intense analog of surging velocity and inflation following end-of-war psychology, pent-up savings, lost faith in currency and authorities, especially the Reichsbank's debt monetization, which is, of course, close to what is happening now. Of course, there is another term for that period, Weimar Germany, and since we all know what happened during that time, it's understandable why Bank of America doesn't want to use it. Okay, now I'm not trying to scare anyone here, but I think it is imperative that if you live in the United States or live in a country that heavily relies on the United States dollar as a reserve currency, it is imperative that you take measures to be prepared if you are not already. We are fast approaching 0 hour, and the choices that you make today could result in significant less pain for yourself and your family in the next coming years. No one can know or predict the future, but I think it is becoming increasingly more likely that the Federal Reserve may lose control of this economy, and when that happens all bets are off. This is why I strongly advocate for cryptocurrencies, especially cryptocurrencies like EOS. EOS mainnet combined with Eden governance has the potential to offer unique and never-seen-before services that will serve future users of crypto very well, and even possibly begin to influence a whole new generation of individuals on what can be possible with decentralized governance. And then combine this with the fact that there will be a flood of new users coming into crypto, and cryptocurrencies that are not ready to handle the massive amounts of transaction activity will more than likely see much of their potential growth hindered as a direct result. To all EOS holders, our time to shine is coming soon.
Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Also, if you would like to read, listen to, or watch more of this kind of content, please visit us at www.cryptoapologetics.com. See you next time. Take care.